Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make videos for NBA. I make videos for NFL. All these videos, they get posted on this subreddit right here. It's called DF Sports with one S. And yeah, I make updates with all the news that comes out throughout the day. You can ask me questions about the slate. I'll always reply to you and stuff like that. So that would be linked down below. And then if you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can do so on Twitter. Um, these are my handles, sorry, right here. So yeah, before we get into my lineups from tonight, if you are interested in joining my Discord, where I post Prize Picks plays, cores for cash, GPPs, private videos, showdown stuff, night slate stuff, NFL stuff. All my NFL content is already posted for tomorrow. That will be linked in the Reddit post as well. Didn't do any Prize Picks today. I was running late, got stuck in some traffic, so don't have any of that to go over, but yeah, sweep 2 days ago, 5-1 yesterday. All right, let's go over my lineups from tonight. Looking like it's going to be a great night. No ownership in the late game, so should hold on to a plus $400 day or so. All the contests filled, unfortunately, so I'm kind of mad there. But my core today was Karl Anthony Towns, massive blowout, lost huge minutes. Goga Patadze, smash, and Cole Anthony. He was a letdown plus the blowout. Little unfortunate there. He did play some in the blowout, I want to say. But yeah, unfortunate there. And then everyone knew in Discord how high I was on Tyrese Halliburton. He was one of my favorite spend ups on the slate. He nuked. And you guys knew how high I was on that Rockets game. Fred VanVleet nuked. Jabari Smith nuked. Dylan Brooks nuked. Sengun nuked. The whole Rockets team that you guys know I was absolutely in love with. Absolutely broke the slate. And then you guys knew I was really high on Suggs. I played Suggs. I played Anthony Edwards. I originally had Zach LaVine here and Drew Holiday, but once DeMar got ruled in, easy pivot to Ant and Jabari. Was fine playing Ant and Cat together. So yeah, blowout cost me a good few $1,000s tonight. What they lose 5 minutes, give them like what 1.2 fantasy points per minute. 5 minutes, that's what 15 fantasy points for them. So what I hate doing the what ifs, but like what 325, like yeah, it costs me infinite money. Sucks, but that's how it goes sometimes. And yeah, that's a look back from tonight. Super unfortunate with the blowout costing me that much money. All right, Golden State of Cleveland. This game's pretty unappealing to me. Cleveland plays slow. They're good defensively. So not much interest in this game. It is only a 3-game slate, though. So I guess we have to have some interest in it. So, injury news to monitor here. Klay Thompson is questionable. Now, if he's in, Steph's will find tournament play for me. Like, I always like his upside in tournaments just because he has this type of upside, right? And is always low owned. We'll talk about some other spend ups that I do like a bit more, but I always like Steph for tournaments just because he's always low owned and does have an insane ceiling, but nothing more than a tournament play for me. Impossible to pay this price for Chris Paul coming off the bench, so a hard pass there. I think Klay Thompson's priced about right. I told you guys I kind of like Draymond Green last game. He had a good game. Now, if they're going to keep upticking his minutes by like a minute, 2 minutes a night, then yeah, I think 6.2K Draymond Green is very, very safe. I have no issue if you want to play him as like a last man in. Kevon Looney kind of hard for me to get to. Andrew Wiggins at 5'3" had a big game, but his minutes have been all over the place. Normally, I'd say this is a pretty cheap price point for him. So I don't mind Wiggins. Just the minutes. Minutes have been tough. If Clay's out, then I feel a lot better about him. Then I would like Wiggins quite a bit. And then, Dario Saric, I'm not going to say no there. I think he's a reasonable value. Minutes still have been solid with Draymond Green in this lineup. Gary Payton will get minutes off the bench. I think he's a reasonable value for salary relief as well. I don't mind him. Moody's getting some run as well. I think I'd rather play like Saric or Gary Payton. So yeah, that's if Clay's in. I think Wiggins is fine regardless. And if Clay's out, so going to be interesting to see what they do with the starting lineup. I think they could do a number of things. I think they could start Chris Paul. I think they could start Gary Payton. I think they could start Moses Moody. I think there are a ton of different ways they could go about this. So starting lineup's going to be a kind of a wait and see approach for me. But if Clay's out, what that does is, I think Wiggins' minutes would be a lot more secure. I would like him quite a bit. Kamiga hasn't really been playing much, but I would think he'd have to play a little bit more. I'd have interest in him. And then you're going to get more minutes for, guys like Moody, Gary Payton, etc. So those guys would get a bump as well. So to keep it on the starting lineup here, it's definitely going to impact some things. I'll make updates on Reddit and what that changes for me. But I would, like I said, I'd feel a lot better about Wiggins, and then whoever starts, I would like quite a bit. Steph doesn't really get too big of a bump. Still would like him for tournaments. If they start Chris Paul, you can play him. Draymond Green doesn't really get too much of a bump for me. And yeah, Kuminga would get a bump. And then like the values would be fine as well. All right, on to Cleveland. So, not much I love here either. Everyone's still a bit priced up from when everyone is out. So, Donovan Mitchell, nothing more than a contrarian play for me, but he still does have this type of upside. Also, going to play huge minutes, lead this team offensively as well. So, I don't mind him. Mobley, Garland, they're fair plays to me at their respective price points. I think I prefer Garland to Mobley, price points considered. Garland's had a bit of a quiet first two games, but normally he's a guy that's going to stuff the stat sheet, do a little bit of everything. Minutes aren't great, but I'm still fine with him. I think he's priced right, though. Mobley, like I said, a little bit overpriced with everyone back. Jared Allen was on a limit last game. We'll see if he'll be on a limit this game. If he's not on a limit, I do like him at 6'1". He would be too cheap. So we'll see. I would expect him to continue to be on a limit here for Allen. I didn't see anything yet. LeVert unplayable with everyone back. Max Strus basically unplayable for me with everyone back. Even though I think he had a bad game. I thought he had a decent game. And the value is just impossible for me to get to. All right, these last two games look very, very appealing. So Terry Rozier got injured tonight. We'll see if he is going to be good to go for tomorrow. If he's in, LaMelo Ball at 8.5 does seem a bit too cheap. I know he's been god awful, but should play the 30 minutes, should stuff the stat sheet. Shortly, he's going to have a good shooting night one night. So, like LaMelo here is a bounce back candidate. I think he's too cheap. Rozier, if you don't want to play LaMelo, always does have a ceiling. He was having a really good game tonight until he got injured. Good thing with him is he's also going to play huge minutes. He's not scared to shoot the ball a ton when he's out there. So I like Rozier's ceiling if he plays. And then once again, I think Hayward, PJ, they're both safe options in the mid-range. I'm not going to talk you off them. Hayward had the big game tonight. And then Mark Williams at 5'8", I think seems priced right, but a safe center option if you need it. And then Miller, he'll play low 30s minutes off the bench. I think he's a reasonable play at 5'7". And then hard to go to anyone else. They're running a pretty tight rotation. Now, if Rozier is out, I wonder who they're going to start. I would assume it'd be, LaMelo, Hayward, Miller, PJ, Mark. I would assume that'd be the case. I guess they could do a number of things. So kind of like the Warriors, kind of be a wait and see approach for me. But assuming Rozier is out, you're going to get a boost for everyone. Then LaMelo's going to get a boost. He would be way too cheap. I'd really like LaMelo. Hayward, PJ, they get slight boost. They would be more in play for me. Mark Williams doesn't really get a boost, but Brandon Miller, his minutes would be a lot more secure. He'd be solid, and then, like I said, we'll see. You'll probably see more Maladon. You'll probably see, I don't know. They're running a really tight rotation. I would assume someone else would enter the rotation. I don't know if they'd be DFS viable. But yeah, definitely a wait and see approach for me with the injury and what they do with the starting lineup. I would assume they just slide Hayward to the 2. I'd assume. We'll see though. All right, Dallas to Charlotte. So Kyrie's probable. I mean, it's a phenomenal spot here. I think Luka looks like the best spot on the slate. Absolutely love Luka here. Kyrie, I think, is a bit overpriced still. And then this Dallas rotation is just absolutely disgusting. They're changing starting lineups. They're messing with their minutes. So, I mean, if you think Lively gets 30-plus minutes, you can play him. He'll probably be really low owned. Tim Hardaway Jr., he'll get like low to mid-20s minutes off of the bench. Does have a ceiling. I think he's priced right. Grant Williams has surprisingly been very, very good. Not going to talk you off him if you want to play him. I think 5-1's priced right now, though. Josh Green came off the bench last game, still played 27 minutes. I think he's a reasonable value. Derek Jones Jr. got benched, I believe, last game. That can happen. I told you guys his production was just not going to keep up. But another just fair value. And then you saw Hardy, I believe, crush for some odd reason last game. Don't know if this game was blowing out or not. I completely forget. Dwight Powell gets some run. It's just disgusting. Just super disgusting. So not much. I mean, I like Luka a ton. Tim Hardaway Jr. is reasonable. Grant's reasonable. Josh Green, I think, is fair value. It's just disgusting. All right, this game looks absolutely phenomenal, and we're gonna have to monitor the starting lineup for Memphis. Same matchup here from last game. They went with the starting lineup of Jaren Jackson Jr. at the 5, and they inserted Roddy into the starting lineup. So if they go with that same lineup, then I absolutely love Bane, and I absolutely love Jaren Jackson Jr. Jaren Jackson Jr. will be one of, in my opinion, the best plays on the slate if he starts at the 5 again. Now, if he does start at the 5 again, he's probably going to get a ton of ownership, and we know he is foul prone. He only had 1 foul last game, but his boost at the 5 compared to the 4 is just tremendous. It's absolutely tremendous. He gets such a big boost. He's going to play huge minutes. I would absolutely love Jaren Jackson Jr. if they start him at the 5. I really like Bane. I think Mark Smart's a very solid play at 6.8K as well. Tillman came off the bench last game, got extended because I want to say someone fouled out. He would be unplayable if he comes off the bench. If Roddy starts again, I like him quite a bit for value. Kennard, going to get solid run off the bench. I think he's a solid value. This whole Memphis team just looks really, really good to me. You're going to see some Contrar's out. Okay. This whole team just looks phenomenal to me. Zaire's going to get some good run. I think he's a solid value. Pretty much just let's take a look at the rotation last game. Obviously went into overtime. So, but now you have no Conchar. Probably going to see some more run for like Gilliard. But they're running a tight rotation, right? Main guys are just getting huge minutes right now. So I absolutely love this whole Memphis team. Bane, Jaren, Smart, Roddy if he starts. I think Kennard's a good value, etc. This whole team. Zaire solid. So this whole team just looks great. All right, this team looks great too. So no Scoot. No Simons, obviously. Kamara, you have questionable. So Brogdon, I really like still, even at this price point. Shaden Sharp, I like even at this price point. These two guys are going to lead the way offensively. They're going to play huge minutes. I love both still at their price points. I think Ayton is still too cheap at 7K. I really like him. Jeremy Grant, I still think is a solid play, even at 6.7K. There's just a ton of minutes, a ton of usage to go around with those two guys out. Love this whole team. Thibault, I'm not going to play. And then Kamara, if he is in, I think is a solid value. Played 31 minutes last game. Not going to do much. Like he's not the worst point per minute, but he's not the best either. But if you give him 30 minutes again, he is a solid value. Now, if Kamara is out, then you're probably going to see more run for they could give more run to like Jabari Walker, maybe some more run for Thibault, more run for the main guys. So I'll mention Jabari Walker as a dart if Kamara is out. I think he'd be interesting. So this whole game just looks phenomenal to me. I absolutely love this game, but the field's going to be all over this game. So that's going to wrap it up for the video, guys. Hope you guys had a good night, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.